Okay, so today I'm going to be coloring this Kraftin Kimmie stamps. I believe this one is Alice in Wonderland. And I'm going to be coloring her with zombie skin. So I have this written down and I will leave it in the frame, so if you guys need to pause it and write it down, you can. These are the copic colors that I decided to use from watching a couple of videos. And it's done in layers. So the first layer, you use the V91, V95, and V99 to do your shadows. And then you're going to blend everything in with V93 and then again with V91. So you're going to get like a purpley kind of color when you're done. After you're done your purple, you're going to add in BG70. Now, I didn't have BG70, so I used BG11. So it's just like a kind of like a minty green, and it's just to add a little bit of decay. I know it sounds crazy. So you're not done there. After that, you want to do a second layer with the cool gray colors. So you're going to do C0 just overall the whole image. And then you want to add in C3 for shadows and blend that out with C1. So you're going to add these in, and that's what's going to make the skin look like it's dead. Okay, so I will put this off to the side and just get started. Let's see if, oop, don't want to, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my V91, V95, and V99. And you just want to start where you're going to have your darkest colors again, right? I'm just going to focus on the face right now. Now for the V99, you just want to use a little bit. You don't want to do a lot. So just in the creases. The way the person that I watched that explained it said it, that's what's going to look like. There's like dried blood. So just wherever you want the creases. I'm just going to blend that back out with the V95 and then V91. And then you want to use your V93 to do some more blending out. And your V91 all over. I think I'm going to go back and do some under her eye to make it look like she has bags under her eyes. And then I'm going to go down to the V93 here. And then V91 again. Just need to get my colorless blender. Looks like my eyes are bleeding. Okay. So then we're going to move on to the green, and the green you just are adding a little bit of highlight in here and there. It's not overall the whole thing. It's just a little bit of color, just in addition to the other ones. And then we're going to move over to our cool cool grays. So we're going to do the C0 all over the whole image, or the whole skin, I should say. And then we're going to add in some shadows with the C3. And that goes over top of your shadows that you created before. And use C1. And C0. Now, if you think that you have taken too much color out, you can go back to your purples and add it back in. I'm going to go back to the V93 just to go over this where my green is to blend that black out. And V95. And then V91 just over top. Can kind of tell by the eyes that this is not Copic paper, and I had hoped it was, because I keep my little I keep containers of stamped images that I've started coloring or stamped out, and I just pulled this one from there, so hoping that it would work. So I'm just going to push back this color that's in the high. It's actually not too bad because it's making it look like her eyes are bloodshot. Okay, so then she has a little bit of a neck in there, which actually doesn't look too bad right now because of the marker bleeding over it. So now I'm just going to do her arms really quickly here. V91, V95, and V99. Blend it out with a little bit of V93. And V91. And then for this, I'm just going to do the C0 over top to give it the gray look. And I'm going to add some of the C colors into her eyes. To see if that will help mask the color bleeding. And then just a little bit of colorless blender in the middle. It's craziness. Alright, so far that is my zombie. I'm just going to take a quick break and pick out some colors for her hair and her dress and stuff, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I decided to speed the rest of this up. It was a 30-minute long video, so I'm using B34 and B99 for her dress and the little bow in her hair, as you can see. I didn't do too much shading on this. I didn't want to add in a third color just because of it not being Copic paper, and it was bleeding a lot just doing the face, so I didn't want the dress to overbleed also. So you'll see that I just use the two colors of blue, and I go through and make my light areas and dark areas. I'm not like super professional on the folds and stuff like that. And then to make it look not so perfect, I go back to the C0 color that I used on her face and kind of dull down the dress so that it looks like it's a little bit tattered and old, so the color is kind of fading. She's a zombie, so I don't want it to look perfect. I just want her to look a little old and moldy. Sorry, guys. So I just started off with doing the inside of the dress first, the part that's flopping up, and just trying to add in some shadows. Again, I don't want to oversaturate too much because it will bleed all over the place. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a lot of blue over and over again. And once I was done the part that was the inside, I kind of had to flip it upside down so that I could do my lines going towards the other way and get the shadows in there. It's kind of hard. There's a lot of folds in this dress, so to try and figure out what part you're coloring to make sure that you're not coloring her leg or the bow on her dress, that kind of thing. You just have to keep an eye out what you're doing because you can very easily go over those lines. And I was going to keep the little fringe, the frill underneath her dress, white. And I did end up adding C0 and C1 to that. These two colors did blend really nicely, so there wasn't too much that I had to do to make it work. They did seem to be far off from each other, as you can tell. Like, you could see a huge difference, but they blended nicely. And unfortunately, while I was coloring this image, I did have to take a couple breaks. It was kind of around dinner time and such. So this is where I'm adding in the C0 just to tone it down a bit and make it look a little bit dull. Because the C0 has a bit of colorless blender in it, it does help lighten the color and take away some. So for the bow on her waist, I decided to do the R22 and R24 on the bow, and then also on her legs I did the striping. So one pink, one white, one pink, one white. I added in a little bit of shading on the pink edges, and then I went over it with the C1, I believe. We'll see in a minute when I get to it. And I was explaining how the leg that's on the right hand side is lying flat, so I just put a shadow in the bottom, but the leg on the left is pointing towards you, so I did a shadow on the top and the bottom to make it more rounded. It was the C1 that I added in the shading. And then I did take a little bit of colorless blender just over the top edge on the right leg and down the middle on the left leg for another highlight. And the shoes was a T6 and a T8, I believe, just to give her some little black shoes. And that was just adding the C0 and the C1 on the little frill. Sorry, I went out of frame. Trying to get used to my tripod being above me instead of right in front of me. I added some C0 on the top of her dress and some glitter gel pen on the necklace. That was during one of my breaks. Okay, so for the hair, I'm using Y32, YR31, and YR21. And then I'm adding in C0, C1, and C3. I wanted her to have blonde hair because she's Alice in Wonderland, but I also wanted to give it a zombie look. So it's a bit of it's not a total ombre, but it's a bit of an ombre. I colored in with the yellow colors first, and very, very lightly. You don't want to fill in, like, you want to leave some white space. You don't want to fill in the whole thing because it'll be too yellow. And then at the roots is where I added in the C0 and the C1 and the C3. And then in some other places just so that it wasn't all over like that. And that was to make her hair look a little bit dead. It feels weird saying those words. I had finished coloring this one layer of yellow and then dinner was ready, so I had to take a quick break. So when I came back to finish it off, here's the final touches with the C0, C1, and C3, just to dull the hair. And I added some to the ends a little bit. And then that will complete the coloring, and I will come back to show you the finished card. Okay, I have my finished card to share with you guys. I just used black cardstock, not finished the inside yet. I did layer some cardstock and patterned paper, so I used this Mama Elephant die. I don't have the name on here. They don't come with the names, and I think it has changed since I bought it, but they still have this one. So it comes with a scallop base and then the stitched mat to go on the inside. So I cut this one out in blue, and it's a Recollections cardstock, and then this patterned paper is a K & Company from, I believe, last year Halloween stack that I did the stitch die, and I edged both of them in black soot distress ink, and then I popped this one up actually with foam, fun foam. So instead of doing foam tape, I just cut out a rectangle shape to fit underneath there. And then I tied this around before I glued it on, and this is a ribbon from Hobby Lobby with the spider webs on it. I had purchased that one last year. And then I popped up my image with foam tape, so she's on there. Super cute. I think she turned out really good. She looks very spooky. Alright, so that is my finished card. Please leave a comment, subscribe if you wish, and have a great day. Thanks. Bye.